It's a huge thing to represent Canada for the international film category, but also it's really huge for me that it found the distributor that it did. Uh, Ava DuVernay is is my hero. Reincarnation has become the fourth element because it is about the space that RG, the young protagonist, occupies. It's about the space of tolerance in our society. It's about the space of uh, the air we all breathe. Is it the space that divides us? Is it the space that can bring us together? And the film is all of that. We did approach some Indian actors too. Uh, I wanted one of my favorite South Indian actors is Siddharth Suryanarayan. I mean, I think he's just terrific. And Sid couldn't do it because he'd broken his shoulder. Madhavan would have been very good, but he couldn't do it.
Joining us today is Deepa Mehta, who will be speaking to us about her film Funny Boy, which is also Canada's pick for international feature film category at the upcoming Oscars. So thank you so much, Deepa, for giving us your time and speaking to us today.
My pleasure indeed. It's lovely to be here for this amazing festival. I mean, I think that out of all the festivals in the world, and I'm not kidding, to be here for iView is really important. Firstly, because it's iView and what they do. And it's a humanitarian film festival, it's a human rights film festival, and also it's on the 10th of December, which is the International Human Rights Day. So I feel extremely honored. It's like Funny Boy found its home, and I'd like to thank the festival for that.
So, ma'am, coming back to the film Funny Boy, when I watched the trailer and when I, in fact, also discussed with a few of my colleagues, they all said that, it's a very interesting blend of, the films that we have seen in the past from you. It's far that we have an aspect of fire, earth, water. And could this be the fourth element then? Do you really see Funny Boy also a blend of all these films?
That's a fascinating thought because it's so interesting. You're a smart young woman because I think it was over 3 days ago. Maybe I was talking to you, Mina, or I don't know who I was. Anyways, and I said that I felt now seeing it now that I have some distance from it, and because you do need that distance from your work, that I felt that Funny Boy is actually like space for me. So finally, the fourth element has come into place, even though it's called Funny Boy. I mean, Ice Candy Man, Papsi Sidhwa's wonderful book, became Earth. And so I feel Funny Boy in its strange reincarnation has become the fourth element because it is about the space that RG, the young protagonist, occupies. It's about the space of tolerance in our society. It's about the space of the air we all breathe. Is it the space that divides us? Is it the space that can bring us together? And the film is all of that. It seems to be about, not seems to be, for me, it is the fourth element. So it's weird. Yeah. Yes. Strange things happen. Who knows?
Right. And, the film is representing Canada at the Oscars 2021. It's making to the international film feature film category. Now, what does that mean to the film and how much significance does it carry to you as a filmmaker?
The significance that it's huge. I mean, it's a huge honor to be chosen to represent Canada for the foreign independent film. I don't know, whatever it's called now. Sorry. What's it called? What is independent? International. See, it's the jet lag. It's not me being disrespectful. But yeah, and it's a huge thing to represent Canada for the international film category. But also, it's really huge for me that it found the distributor that it did. Ava DuVernay is my hero. I mean, the work that she does, from the films that she's done, what she stands for women of color, and again, it's finding its home. Funny Boy found its home with Array now, which is distributing it, and now with Netflix. So it's been a circuitous journey from finishing the film to finding that, my God, it's the fourth element, to finding Ava, to finding uh, the Oscar category, and now to find that it's going to be, tomorrow it's also going to be released on Netflix. So
Yes.
it feels that it's on its own. I feel that now.
Right. Now, the thing is that, there's a lot of buzz around the casting of the film, but we wanted to know what exactly was the process, to get actors roped in for the project. And did you also approach any Indian actor, maybe actors from the Indian film industry? Was that ever a thought?
Yes, it was. I mean, it took us about 1 year to cast the film. It wasn't that easy. It's like most countries in Southeast Asia, you just can't say, okay, I'm coming from Canada or wherever, or England, and I'm going to, pack my camera and come and shoot a film here. You have to go through the National Film Commission, or that's the case in Sri Lanka. So it took us about 1 year to get permission to do the film there, even though the book is a beloved book of Sri Lanka. They were very hesitant about making it into a film. So we had actually 1 year while we waited for permission to look for the cast. I was very lucky. The writer, who's the co-writer of the script, is Sri
Yeah.
Lankan Canadian. He's half Tamil, he's half Sinhalese. He teaches. He actually has a very close tie with Colombo, and runs or ran the Golf Literary Film Festival or whatever. And so through him, I really got uh, complete exposure to
Mhm.
the talent, whether it was in theater or in cinema in Sri Lanka. So we met lots and lots of actors. There were calls, and there were, calls to even schools and universities. And I would say 90% of the cast is from Sri Lanka.
Mhm.
Uh, and I'd say more than about 50% of them are Tamil. But as long as they're Sri Lankan, that's the main thing. And what else? Yeah, we did approach some Indian actors too. Uh, I wanted, one of my favorite South Indian actors is Siddharth Suryanarayan. I mean, I think he's just terrific. And Sid couldn't do it because he'd broken his shoulder. And we did approach through Uma Dukuna, who was our Indian casting agent, who helped us cast here. Um, uh, I thought Madhavan would have been very good,
Mhm.
but he couldn't do it. And there was a Kerala film actress who I really like, Parvathy. I think she would have been very good as Auntie Radha, but
Mhm.
then she couldn't do it too. And there's so many things that. And then there was Sendril in London, but he belonged to a union. There was people in New York, two of them, and there was one fabulous Sri Lankan Tamil in Toronto. I really wanted him for one of the main roles, and that would have been terrific.
Yes.
And a day before we were supposed to leave for Sri Lanka, his father got what's it called, some triple heart surgery.
Okay.
So the guy couldn't come in. His name is Suthan, and so it became like wanted to. Seema Biswas was in it, and
Mhm.
we got the
Yes.
young Archie from Bombay.
Mhm.
So there are the two actors from Bombay.
As a
Uh,
viewer, when I watched the trailer and the reactions that came in on social media, I frankly could not really understand the controversy around the casting of the film. To me, it was like just picking one individual to play another individual. Now, don't you think the controversy that's been making the headlines because of the film's casting is slightly uncalled for?
People see my face and they see controversy. So you have to understand that it might have something to do with association, what is expectations, and I think that I- aren't actors supposed to personify other roles? I mean, I don't know. Maybe one day you want to be an actor. You are one. You in front of the camera, and you're asked to play a mother, and you haven't given birth. Will you turn down that role? I do not know. There's a real fine line. I think representation is extremely important.
Yes,
I
yes.
think especially for when you make a film outside, there are very few films that are made that you can actually cast Southeast Asian actors. Usually we end up becoming doctors, assistants, or Uber drivers, or those are the roles that are left for us. So when a film that is slightly on the main on the main platform comes along, you want representation, and I think that's extremely, like I said, important. Uh, but I didn't cast a white person to play, I cast Sri Lankans. But if Sri Lankans start having problems, it would be very sad because the film and the book, as Sham would say, is about trying to build bridges of solidarity. I've always said this to Maina. For me, the film is about the world is divisive enough. It's trying to build bridges and bridges within Sri Lanka for Sham and myself, who's a Sinhalese Tamil. He's not a pure Sinhalese. Important. So we did our best, and some, you finally have to go for the actor who might not be the authentic ethnicity. You might, but is really a good actor and belongs to the country. I think so. I'm not. You end up by
Right.
trying to justify something, which I think is like 101. But I think that's what you. That's
Yeah.
what sells. Well, that's why people are watching you right now because of the controversy. What do you think? Tell me.
Well, I really don't see, any need for it. Like, it was almost like, when we got Priyanka Chopra to play Mary Com, and there were people saying that why didn't you ever opt for an Assamese actor? I mean, we are not here to sort of, get into that aspect. We just want to see the story and how it's told and the person, around which the story revolves. So who's playing it doesn't really matter to a very large extent. I mean, to me, Maricom worked, even though we did not have an Assamese actor. But yes, I did speak to a lot of people. There was a section in the society that said that this was a good opportunity for Assamese actors, to have been
I
given.
totally agree. That's what I was talking to you
Yeah,
about because it happens very rarely. It's important to have
yeah,
representation, but I think
Mhm.
finally, if all things are equal, if
mm,
if there's an Assamese actor who's as talented as Priyanka, then I'd say go for the Assamese actor. But if you can't find the right actor who can perform, who has the talent, who can endure, who can feel the piece,
mm.
the, feel the piece of work, uh, then I would rather go for the person who can act.
But
Uh,
Paina, we wanted to ask you that how important is the film for the viewers today? Because it's a very interesting association. You're bringing the film to the festival. So how important is the film for the viewers today? We really like
Film is,
the fact that yeah.
I mean, I view is always been a human rights film, but always has a special sort of focus and emphasis sections of gender and marginalities. And this is the perfect film for it. I mean, this is a film that talks about being marginal, and it talks about giving voice to the marginal or seeing representation. And just like the film, I mean, the festival also does not really try to preach a good or a bad side. The idea is to create empathy.
Yeah.
I think more and more now, the whole idea of cinema and viewing cinema from a particular lens is to hear stories that are different from yours, but also to find resonance in some of the strives that plague the world and the very beautiful and the very complex world around us. So, this is just a film that does that.
Yeah.
There are no easy answers, and especially now in this past year with COVID, there's so much that we have seen, and yet so little that has given us any kind of hope. We are desensitized by seeing all of these
yeah,
stories, but cinema is a way that sort of brings back. It makes it central. Imagination. So that's really. I mean, we all hear stories every day. We hear media stories that are so difficult. But cinema is something that lets you imagine and lets you have empathy. And so, I think the festival is really important, and this film, right, as its crowning sort of uh, hat is very important.
What exactly would help the film also strike a chord with the viewers?
I think the only thing that will strike a chord with the viewers or might strike a chord with the viewers is it if they see it. I mean, how can this is, I told you, it just, that's the most important. See the film and then see if it strikes a chord in you, and it might not. It's a gay love story. It's a coming of age during the very bloody civil war. It reflects our times. That's what I did it. It's about a time which is a very divisive time,
Mm.
where 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 the only thing that's really important right now, if you have to let go of hatred and become whole as a society, especially in the middle of the COVID. I mean, it's intensified exactly what we really don't want in the government. Why we are having a
Mm.
human rights film festival is that, hey, let's believe in love.